How now, brown cow? Hey guys, it's another wonderful episode of Management Unfiltered. My name is Kirk Teachout, and
I'm Zach Shelley, and today we have another fun topic and nailing the intro again. And Kirk is just so excited. This is going to be his favorite subject. Maybe not. I'm just looking at him. So today we're going to talk about something that's a lot of fun for everybody, which is you can hear my sarcasm in my voice. Difficult conversations. And what I'm talking about and how to have hard conversations. And I'm not talking about how to fire people. That is not what we're talking about. What I'm more talking about is having those intentional conversations that you're avoiding because you're unsure of how the other team member's going to react to the way you speak with them. And so I really just want to dive into like what that looks like, because I feel like there's so many things that could have been corrected so much sooner, but we avoided having the conversation and it just got 100 times worse. And then you may fall into that termination conversation, but it's how you position yourself with your team members and saying you need to talk. And that's kind of like the first thing. And I had a conversation with somebody earlier this week, Kirk, and I think she'll end up being a podcast member or a guest member on the show because she deals with this specifically. But she said something that really struck me, and I think it's super important of how we tell people we need to talk.
Oh, yes.
Right? Like how we initiate saying, hey, we need to talk. Like initially, if I told you that, you're going to think something's wrong. Something's up, like, oh, I'm getting fired. Right? Like it's not a good way to start a conversation. And 99% of the time, that's how we start it. Hey, Kirk, we need to talk.
Man, yeah. Like if your wife came to you and said, hey, we need to talk, you'd know that you're about to be in the doghouse.
Oh, 100%. 100%. But if we just say, hey, Kirk, I want to run something by you. Do you have time around 2:00 to talk? Your mindset is going to be completely different because one, I'm using words that are soft, but also my body language, I feel like if we're conscious of it, will be different than, Kirk, I need to talk to you, or we need to talk. Right? So I think a lot with these difficult conversations is we put assumptions in of how other people are going to respond, but we also go into the conversation with our own body language that is not in a good manner that sets the tone for the conversation. And it's not a vocal tone, it's a body language tone.
Yeah. Well, and I think to me, it's out of fear most of the time, right? So we have our defenses up because we assume that they're going to lash out at us or be upset. So therefore, we're coming at them heavy hidden, like just with the heaviest of I can't use words, but just with just super heated. Yeah. So but if we can come into it like, okay, and the first few of these are going to be terrible, just FYI, like they're going to be horrible, but push through and get good at it and work on it. And like, I encourage you after each of these conversations, write down what went well and what didn't go well, so that way you can reflect on how you did and performed. And then also you could ask the team member. Feedback loops are super important.
Yeah.
So, I know me and you, and we'll probably get into a kind of a structure of what these tough conversations look like, but I know me and you really enjoy asking the questions, what can I do better as a leader for you?
Yeah, which avoids a lot of those tough conversations, to be honest. If you put that on the forefront, tough conversations, it's all about this magic word called communication, and how transparent we are with that. A lot of this, like if we communicate that on the forefront, we avoid all these issues later on because we're checking our boxes. I was talking the other day, and one of the biggest, I think, most difficult conversations we have in the practice is talking to the doctor. And doc, you need to really think and hear me out when I say this. A lot of OMs, hygienists and assistants, have an assumption about you as a doctor, whether it's right or wrong. I'm not going to go there, but they feel like they can't talk to you. One, because you're a doctor, and two, you're not approachable. And so having a difficult conversation with a doctor a lot of times is impossible for these team members, that they won't even approach it. So you end up losing somebody, or you have um, more of a cancerous style culture because they don't feel like their opinions are heard. We can listen and hear opinions of people, doesn't mean we have to adhere what they want. A lot of times just listening into that will allow that difficult conversation to be way easier, because they at least feel heard of what they're feeling, and then going in. Doesn't mean we're gonna fix it how they want it, but we're at least gonna hear what they have to say, with the caveat that when we're having these conversations, we are having a conversation that's respectful and professional.
Dude, I think we should get a communications expert on here. I think that would be awesome. Like really laying out like trigger words and soft language, hard language, and things like I think that would be really cool, because I know me and you would even learn a lot. So that's definitely pin that in. But the when you have the ability to create an open door policy, and be approachable. I know, like, we could say, yeah, my door's open all the time, but when we don't hear, like, when our like you said, when our team doesn't feel like they're heard, it's just falling on deaf ears, their feedback, because you don't ever implement anything that you say you're going to do or that they suggest, then you can't say you have an open door policy. You've got to be able to really do what you say, and make sure that open door policy is accurate and true. I know one thing that I really focus on is this phrase of, we praise quickly in public and we rebuke quickly in private. A lot of these tough conversations happen because a lot of small frustrations build up over time that end up blowing up into a big tough conversation, right? So if we now can praise quickly in front of the patient, in front of the team, we never want to embarrass somebody by rebuking them and getting onto them in front of somebody. That's always done in private, but when you have that ability, it lifts them up. But then when you do, like, let's just say, like, we don't have soft close cabinets, right? So they're slamming cabinets all the time, and not purposefully, but accidentally. And like, you just pull them aside real quick, like, hey, Jane, just like, I don't want us to slam the doors. I know you didn't mean to, but just, we don't want the patient to feel rushed. They're already nervous as it is. So if we could just quietly, like, take the extra 2 seconds, make sure it doesn't slam, that would be awesome. So if you do that over a short amount of time, quickly, then it doesn't boil up to a bigger problem where Jane always slams the doors. She doesn't clock in on time. She has to have her time clock fixed all the time. She doesn't show up to the morning huddle on time. She does these things and this thing, and she always calls in sick on a Tuesday and always after a holiday, and all these, like, it just constantly builds up to where now you're just firing her, right? It's just like not even improvable, because in your mind, she has frustrated you to the nth degree.
You kind of hit the nail. I remember having a conversation with an employee about clocking in. And I was like, listen, dude, like, every payroll, like, I have so much to fix on your time card. And I was like, I understand it's not important to you. So, because she's like, well, it always gets fixed. And I'm like, I looked at her, I said, well, moving forward, I'm not fixing it. So if your time card's not correct, you're getting paid what you put on there, because I don't have time, and it's your responsibility to clock in, and you're asking me to be responsible to manage it for you, but I can't. And I've done it for this long, but I'm telling you, moving forward, I'm not able to do this. Can you please be better about clocking in? And she came back to me the next week, perfect time card. Next week, like 1 or 2 errors. Next week, kind of start going back. So then I go back and I say, hey, remember that conversation? Like, I fixed this last one last week. It was only one, not a big deal. I'm not going to fret about that. But I'm noticing a trend that it's going back to what it was. Please make sure, because I'm not going to correct it. And sure enough, like, just those soft touch points of knowing, like, hey, I'm not going to get angry, but oh yeah, I forgot about that. Or like, I had another team member like, well, you always fix and I always get paid. I'm like, well, not moving forward. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. It's not my responsibility. And I said, come here. I'm going to show you what I have to do to fix this.
Yeah.
Afterwards, like, yeah, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it took you 20 minutes to fix my time card because of all the shenanigans. I said, thank you. I appreciate that. And if you could just clock in on time, that would be great. Or, fix your time card when it needs to be fixed, or notify me the day of instead of 2 weeks later when I'm doing all 2 weeks for you.
I kind of joke about it, right? It's like, look, you get 2 times. 2 times I will fix it. Otherwise, I'm clocking you in at the time that you're supposed to be here.
Exactly. And it works when you say, well, I fixed it for you at the time you're supposed to be clocking in, and that's how you got paid. I warned you, and you stand your ground in a respectful, calm way. And if they're frustrated, say, hey, I know you're frustrated, but you had an opportunity to fix it. You chose not to, unfortunately. And then you put the ownership back on them. It's not our responsibility. So the big part of all of this, I think, is we have more than one way to communicate. And I tell this with our children. We read it in a book, and it's you communicate with your body language. You communicate with verbal words, and then facial expressions. And those are like the 3 main ways of communication. I mean, look how ugly Kirk's face is there. But see how nice I said that? Let's say it with a smile. Kirk, you're so ugly.
Well, I love the commercial. What is it? Like where the mom is like yelling at the kid positive things, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's like just absolutely like, I love that I got you a phone for Christmas. And they're yelling back, just like, thank you. Just terrible body language, right? There's like so much chaos in that commercial, but it points out that body language is 80% of everything that we do and how we communicate. The words are actually only about 10 to 20%. So it's important that we have the right body language. I know another good tip is, there's a study that they did where there's a direct correlation between trust and the distance between your ear and your shoulder. Like, I can't get into the scientific reasons for it, but basically, if you have your shoulders down, you're comfortable, you're confident, people tend to trust you more. I think it was by like 30 or 40% than if you're, up here and crazy and you're like, I don't know, not very confident. Communication is super important, which is actually what, again, me and Laura Nelson talked about with the advancements of AI, right? I believe that communication and leadership are never going to go away, right? Those are the 2 skills that if you improve right now, you'll have an excellent practice, no matter if you're an office manager, a hygienist, a doctor, a practice owner, a front office. If you constantly focus on communication and leadership, even if you're in a lower end position, you will rise to the top and you will have an excellent practice.
And we're going to leave it at that right there, Kirk, because I do have a guest I think that can come on here and give us some awesome tips and skills and tricks. And it'll be just a part 2 of this episode. Subscribe, put comments down, hear what you would like to hear. Give us a 5-star review, hit YouTube. Go to @Kirk Teachout on Instagram or Dental Office Manager Leadership Network for me. And just hit us up, guys. Let us know what you'd like to hear, what you like, what you don't like. And we will see you next time.
See ya.
Come on, give me some.